And you're the sign of learning, discernment, and judgment. Okay, so this is actually part of your path of why you're here and how you're programmed to figure things out. Libra, welcome to your reading. So this week we're doing something a little different, only because I was trying to do something for the all signs last week, which ended up not happening because I'm wordy. And so, because I tried to record my all signs all in one day, and they were coming out so long that I wasn't going to be able to record all these in one day without being absolutely exhausted. So yeah, so now they're this week's readings. So what this is going to be, it's a 3-card spread. First card is going to be, what is it that's holding you back in your love relationships? What is it that's holding you back? That's within, you know, because as within, so without. What are you putting out there because of what's within? And so sometimes the biggest struggle that we have is just not seeing it. I think that's probably actually the biggest struggle. So this is meant to help bring some light to that a little bit. And then the second card is going to be, you know, what kind of change in perspective does, you know, should you consider, you know, for your situation, because everybody's different. So, and if you don't resonate with it, check out your, you know, other major placements and see if those resonate for you. The third card is actually going to be where I find out what signs and patterns you may want to consider programming into the universe as an alarm. And how to do this. And so, because a lot of times the biggest thing with the universe is this universe that wants to give us everything that we want is not knowing when it's coming. Well, if you set an alarm in it, it can tell you. It can tell you to start to keep an eye on it. It's kind of like a microwave. I'll explain a little bit more. So let's see here. So what's going on with Libra Sun, Moon, Rising, please? What do they need to see? What do they need to see? What's holding them back in love, please? What's holding Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising? What do they need to hear? What's holding them back in love, please? Okay, we've got Ace of Swords, and I'm going to go over this here. I'm going to lay out all these cards, and then we'll talk. Okay, Ace of Swords, and then what's the advice, or what should Libra consider? What should Libra consider? Oh, we've got 7 of Pentacles reversed. And the Chariot. Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. And so, no. Learning. What signs or patterns should Libra consider setting as their stuff for? That's way too many cards, but I'll take these. Sure, why not? Queen of Cups, Hanged Man, the Fool, and Two of Wands. Okay. That's going to be more like a psychic reading, not the actual card readings. It's just showing me symbols and stuff like that to consider. For the signs and symbols of the alarm that I'm going to teach you how to set. So, the question was, what's going on in the past? What happened in the past? And what is it that's holding you back? Because a lot of times these things, you know, will hold you back. This is the Ace of Swords. So first thing that comes in, so that may be a couple of things here. The first thing that comes in here is that maybe because you've got major Libra placements, right? Lady Justice. Lady Justice has a sword. Using that sword a lot. That may be something that you have. Now the thing is, I'm not saying that you should cut down your standards. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you may be hasty at using this sword. Because if they don't meet your standards, if they don't meet your requirements, no, that's not it. That's not it. What are we using the sword for? What's the sword? Because I don't see where you're particularly picky or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, you're picky. I mean, everybody has standards, right? Everybody has standards. But the thing is that I feel like there's a specific case that you use this sword. Use the sword within you. Or you want to use it and you don't. I bet that's it. Okay, because I'm just like, okay, what's going on here? You want to use the sword, but you don't. You dream about using the sword. You think about it. You think about using the, metaphorical sword. Cutting things out that don't belong. And you don't take action in doing it. It's like you don't trust yourself with it. You don't, yes, this is where it's going. Okay, it's like you don't trust yourself with the sword. You don't trust your judgment. And you're the sign of learning discernment and judgment. Okay, so this is actually part of your path of why you're here and how you're programmed to figure things out. People with major Libra placements are to try to use their best judgment. So that's naturally a challenge for you, especially if you're younger. When you're younger, a lot of times you see a lot more of your programming that you have that you came in that you're actively working to resolve. Okay, actively working to resolve and evolve. Right. You may have already done that in the past. So if a lot of times when people hit about 40. When people hit about 40, they've figured some things out. Not everything, but some things. But Libra, so what you are is that you guys are a very discerning type. You want to make sure everybody's taken care of, everybody's on the same level, right? And if it's something that affects that balance, you use the sword to cut it out. You've wanted to use the sword in the past to cut something out that was causing unbalance, right? And you don't. There's probably multiple things. You have a hesitation to cut things out. You have a strong hesitation. So there may have been a time in the past where you did cut something out and it was too hasty. Maybe that's why that was popping in my head. Maybe in the past it was something where it was too hasty and you realized afterwards, you're like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. So you have like regret regarding certain actions from somebody in the past. There may have been something and when you're using the sword, to cut something out, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually cutting people out. You could be cutting out ideas in your head of what you will follow, or it's really hard to explain this abstract idea. Like, for example, say when you were growing up, you had like a sibling. What I'm hearing is a brother, okay? Say when you were growing up, you had a brother, and you learned that you could not trust him for anything. You couldn't trust him to have your back at all, ever. You learned that. So what you did was you cut out within yourself any trust that you had for him to have your back, right? Something like that. But then what happened is, because you didn't trust him, it kind of backfired on you later with some situation, okay? So it could be something like that, okay? Just know that it's really an abstract idea of using this sword. You're not cutting people out, but what you're doing is you're cutting out ideas within yourself about those people. And that's what we naturally do. We naturally do. But you tend to be a little bit more discerning. You may have done it too quickly for somebody and it backfired on you. And so now you hesitate to do that again because it really hurts you when it backfired. Because what the change of perspective, or what you may want to consider in regards to this, is we've got the Seven of Pentacles reversed and the Chariot. This is 100% a take action. Take action. Don't think about it is what this says. Don't think about it. This is more of a just feel it and do it. What's that? What's popping into my head here? It's Top Gun. Top Gun Maverick, that movie that came out. If you haven't seen that, it's fantastic, by the way. You should go check it out. It's fantastic. It's a really good movie. I was surprised, and I'm an 80s baby, so I was into the Top Gun, the first one. But the second one was amazing, and it's its own standalone story, technically. Anyways, so in the movie, he tells, what's his name? Rooster. He tells Rooster, he's like, don't think about it, just do it. That's what this is. Don't think about it, just do it. Because there may be a point where you're just going to have to trust where it's going. You're going to just have to trust yourself to know when it's proper, because you understand from the past that you made a mistake. You understand what flags you should have seen to know that it would have been a mistake to do that. So now you're in a more experienced space, okay? And you know how to tell what's good, what's bad, and you may have, more incidences recently where you're just like, I should not have done that. I should not have allowed that to occur. I should not have trusted them to get that project done. I should not have, whatever, and you're telling a lot of like, I should have. A lot of I should have is about your own action that you could have taken about something. And what they're saying is that just take the action. Just take the action in the future, and you know what? Maybe you have a little bit more learning to do. Maybe you'll have something blow up in your face again, but it's a learning experience. That's the whole point. By holding yourself back, you're not learning anything. You're not learning. All you're doing is living in fear. So they're saying just to move forward, get it done. All right. So, yeah, move forward and just do it. It'll probably make you feel better. And probably the vast majority of the times, it's going to make your life easier. Sure, there may be the occasional one that kind of, pops you in the face or whatever, but it's really, if you can take responsibility for your actions, that's all that matters. So, and as Lady Justice, usually you can. All right, so let's talk about like the programming of the universe, okay? And how to program it, make it work for you. So the universe is basically like a giant computer. It's like a giant holodeck from Star Trek. And the thing is, it's here to give you everything you want. You can treat it like this. That's the magic of this thing. You can treat it like that. And if you know how to program it, it will give you everything. It'll give you everything. You just have to give it time. And so because you can't tell it how, you need to tell it what. You cannot tell it when. You need to tell it what you want in the form of emotions, okay? So if you're looking for meaningful love, right? If you're looking for meaningful love in your life, you can set it in the system to show you a pattern of signs over like the course of a week of repeating signs that capture your attention. And that's your sign to know that it is coming. It's like right around the corner, and keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes peeled because it's here. It could also be where like, you forget about having set this and everything, right? You forget about having set this. You start dating this new person because you're continuing on with your life. You're not just waiting for the universe, okay? You're continuing on with your life. You start dating this new person, right? And suddenly you see the repeating stuff. That's the universe's sign that this is that meaningful love that you might have. Or you might meet somebody new the next day. Who knows, right? So it's just something to consider because every situation is different, and there's, infinite complex ways that this could be happening. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. These cards reflect some of the signs and, symbols that you can choose to use if you wish, but of course you can do anything you want. The universe is really fond of numbers. So if you've seen things like 11, 11, 10, 10, 12, 12, whatever, you understand how this generally works. You know that those numbers mean something. So the thing is that you can set your own numerical combinations. You can reprogram what those numbers mean if you want for your experience. You can do whatever you want. In fact, this Two of Wands may be like an 11 thing for you. Because 2 wands is like number 11. Two of Wands, it may be like that. Multiple 2s as well for Two of Wands. It could be like that. And then, what else am I seeing here? I don't know. I thought I saw a fire truck in this, but it's not. It's actually a VW bus. But I think that fire trucks may have something to do if you see multiple or you're exposed to multiple suddenly. Then also we've got the Fool here. Crystals. The number 0. The number 0 in multiple digits. Multiple digits, like multiple zeros, like next to each other. Like 3 zeros in a row or something like that. And you don't usually have exposure to numbers like that. If I set numbers, I make sure it's not a number I'm going to see all the time. Like, not something I can see on the clock, because then I'll be tempted to watch the fucking clock, right? Because we naturally want what we want right now, especially if you're American. That's how we are these days. And so I try to make it so that it's not like that. It can't be a street that I pass by. It can't be an address that I'm on my street. That kind of thing, it can't really do that. So I try to set it to be something else. But I'm seeing multiple zeros here. I'm not seeing much else with that card with the Fool card. We've also got the Hanged Man, so we've got 12 as well. I'm also thinking runes, maybe a thing for you. Runes. So you can set a rune to suddenly show up, especially if you don't see them very often. And then we have the Queen of Cups here too. And so she... Yeah, this card's only saying that you can... It's basically saying whatever you set will work. That's basically what it's saying to me. Whatever you set will work. So pick whatever means something to you. I like the number 963. That's just me. Because I can't see it on a clock, it's not on a street, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I usually like to use that a lot. And so what I'll do is I will say literally to the universe, universe, let me know when blank is coming by showing me patterns of blank within a week of each other. The thing is that you don't want to actively look for this stuff. You don't want to try to force it. So you need to set it and forget it. Just set it and forget it. Put yourself a note like in your phone or on your tablet or something like that where you keep reminders for yourself of what you set, because I've had times where it showed up months later and suddenly I'm saying 963, 963, 963. I'm like, what's going on? What did I set? I forgot what I set. And I didn't put notes in my phone or anything. And so then I was like, okay, I don't know, but there's an alarm going off. I better keep my eyes open. Well, I had set something months prior for my relocation across the country of my house that I was intended to purchase and live in. That was perfect for us. And so, yeah, within 3 days of seeing that, I had an offer on there and they accepted it. So it's something, and the universe, one-upped me on it and even included the numbers 963 in the address too. Just because the universe is like, check this out. So it will give you what you want. It will show you the way to go. And if you know to just trust it. Trust it. With this Fool thing is trust it. It's really useful. I learned it from a dude that was on YouTube. If you do a search, I can't remember what his name is. I'm really sorry. If you know who it is, comment below. But that way then I can properly tag him on these things. But if you do a search for lottery and law of attraction, a lot of times his videos will come up. He'll talk about how you can use the law of attraction on the lottery for money. Now, of course, I'm going to watch something like that. I'm going to be like, okay, what kind of woo-woo bullshit are you teaching me today? And the thing is, it wasn't woo-woo bullshit. And so because I've said it and I've played with it for a couple years now, and it always works. Always. Always works. Now, with like the lottery stuff, I don't play the lottery. I don't need that. I don't need that. And so I'm financially happy as it is. So it's like, it's not something that I like to do. The lottery is something that's very specific, especially big lotteries. Very specifically, and got to be programmed into your chart and stuff like that too. So if you don't have the programming, it'll never occur. But if you set something where, when there's an opportunity for prosperity, for further financial prosperity, show me blah, 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 the number, like 888s or something like that, because 8 is usually a financial increase. And so, show me 888s when there's an opportunity for a financial increase. For me to see that's coming down the pipe and an opportunity to take. That way then you have proper things. Because the thing is that when it's time for me to go purchase a lottery ticket, a winning lottery ticket, from this location, be as specific as you possibly can. Because it's a computer, you have to be specific. If you set it for a lottery thing, I don't know, it all just depends on what your path looks like. And so I'm like really skittish because you're telling it how to take the money in. I don't like telling it how. You want to tell it, I need financial abundance. I need a way to pay my bills. Show me 888 when it's time for me to do this. When there's an opportunity coming that I need to do this. And you need to follow whatever is coming. If you see the opportunity, take it. If you see the opportunity to buy a lottery ticket and you suddenly have the urge to buy a lottery ticket, go freaking buy a lottery ticket. But then if it's something else where you come across somebody who you can work with or something like that, that's a whole nother way to prosperity too, right? So that way you're not telling the universe how to do it, just telling you when it's coming. So telling you when it's coming and when to pay attention. When to pay attention with that focus in mind. So, all right, Libra, that's what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you. And I'll see you next time.